Good day, students. Welcome to the zoology class. Hope all of you are fine. Today, I will discuss about the immunity part second presentation, and I have already sent you my first presentation on immunity. As all of you know that immunity is of two types, innate immunity and acquired immunity, and I have discussed about innate immunity in my first presentation, and now in this presentation I will discuss about the acquired immunity. Now, what is acquired immunity? All of you know that innate immunity is the inborn immunity, but acquired immunity is the immunity which is acquired after the birth. It is not present. It is also called as specific immunity because it is pathogen specific and it supplements the protection provided by the innate immunity. It means that when there is acquired immunity, the innate immunity also takes place along with it. And acquired immunity, it is acquired after the birth and it supplements the protection which is provided by the innate immunity. As innate immunity is known as the non-specific immunity because that is not pathogen specific, but acquired immunity is pathogen specific. It is specific for each pathogen, so it is also known as specific immunity. So there are certain features of acquired immunity. Number one is pathogen specificity. Our immune system has the ability to recognize billions of different antigens. And second character of acquired immunity is discrimination between the self and non-self. Immune system has the ability to recognize the molecules of one's own body, that is the self, from those of foreign or non-self molecules. This ability of immune system enables it to battle foreign molecules and cells without harming healthy cells of its own body. It means that the first character of the acquired immunity is pathogen specificity. It means that for every pathogen there is a different acquired immunity. And second character of acquired immunity is discrimination between the self and the non-self. It means our immune system, it has the ability to recognize the molecules of its own body and the molecules which come from outside, that is the foreign molecules of cells and the own body cells. And when some foreign material, foreign cell, molecule, bacteria, virus or anything from outside the body enters the body, then only this immune system becomes active and it fights with those foreign molecules or cells and it tries to remove them without harming the healthy cells of its own body. So the first character is pathogen specificity and the second one is discrimination between the self and the non-self. And the third important characteristic of acquired immunity is memory. Whole of the acquired immunity, it is dependent on the memory. When first time a pathogen invades the body, the lymphocytes, that is a type of WBC of human immune system, it generates an immune response that is known as primary response and try to eliminate it. And then the immune system retains the memory of this encounter in the form of the memory cell. And as a result, when second time the body is invaded by the same pathogen, the memory cells initiate the response quickly and produce a heightened immune response that is known as the secondary response. Memory cells, they can survive for several decades, and this is the reason why people rarely get chickenpox second time after they have it once in their lifetime. It is because of memory cells for which vaccinations are also very effective. It means because of this characteristic of acquired immunity, that is memory, what happens then first time when some disease causing organism or the pathogen, that is bacteria or virus, it enters the body, the lymphocyte type of WBC of the immune system, they generate and response, and the first time response that is generated, that is known as the primary response, and this response tries to eliminate the pathogen or the disease causing organism, and this immune system, it retains the memory of this encounter with that pathogen in the form of the memory cells, and when the same pathogen it attacks the body second time, the body has a memory, and so this time the response is very quick, and a heightened immune response, which is known as secondary response, that is produced, and so second time the intensity of the disease is not much, and it is possible that we may not get the disease second time if we have encountered that pathogen in the past. And memory cells, sometimes they can survive for many decades or even for the whole life in our body, and if we experience a disease once, it is possible that we may not experience that disease next time in our life. For example, the children who get chickenpox in the childhood, they may not get chickenpox second time because their body has the memory cells, and that is why vaccinations are given for certain diseases, because vaccination produce memory in the body, and so when actually the pathogen enters the body, there is a heightened response and we do not get the disease. We are not infected by that pathogen. So these are the three characters of the acquired immunity: pathogen specificity, memory, and differentiation between the self and the non-self. So the immune system, it has a remarkable memory. It can remember antigen it has encountered before, and so it reacts against them more promptly and vigorously on second encounter, and so we are prevented from the infection. So the characteristics of memory, it is very important. Because of the memory characteristic of the acquired immunity, we do not get disease for the second time. So there is a specific defense system of the acquired immunity. How acquired immunity operates? The specific defense system of acquired immunity is by antibody. An antibody acts against a specific bacteria or antigen only. An antigen is any foreign protein found in all viruses or bacteria, and that is not found in the organism's body and not recognized by the body. An antigen stimulates the body to produce specific antibody. It means how acquired immunity is produced. It means that the acquired immunity works with the help of the production of the antibody. And whenever an antigen or the disease causing organism enters the body, and against that antigen, antibody is produced, and that antibody, it prevents the infection. Antibody fights with that pathogen and it removes it or it kills it, and then we do not get the disease. Now you understand that what is antigen. Antigen is any thing which causes disease. It may be bacteria, virus, any other microorganism which can cause disease in human body. And the word antigen, it is a shortened form of the antibody, means antibody generating. Gen means generating. So antigen triggers the antibody generation. So antibody interact with antigen and either destroys them or make them inactive. So the antibodies are globular proteins and are called immunoglobulins, Ig. They are produced in the lymph nodes, spleen and by the thymus gland. So I can say that the word antigen is the short form of the antibody generating, and whenever the body encounters any antigen and in response to that antigen, antibody is produced, and this antibody either destroys the antigen or makes the antigen inactive. And actually, what are these antibodies? These antibodies are globular proteins, and these antibodies are called immunoglobulins. And these antibodies for any pathogen, they are produced in the lymph nodes, spleen and in the thymus gland. And antigens are not only parts of microorganisms but also some blood cells, pollens, egg white, fruits and vegetables may also act as antigen and stimulate immune system of the body. It means that not every time any microorganism, for example bacteria, virus, etc., they are the antigen. But sometimes in some cases in the body of human beings, some blood cells, pollens are white of the egg, some fruits and vegetables also act as an antigen. And when these things act as antigen, the body does not recognize these things, then again these antigens, they stimulate the immune system of the body, and then antibodies are produced. So basically whenever the body encounters any antigen, antibodies produced, and antibodies are basically globular proteins and they are known as the immunoglobulins. So how these antibodies work? And there are two types of cells in acquired immunity which employs the acquired immunity. So there are two types of cells. One is B lymphocytes, or they are known as the B cells, and the second one are T lymphocytes, or they are known as the T cells. Both B and T cells, they need an exposure to antigens to trigger them. Both B and T cells develop from stem cells in the bone marrow, and the process of formation of these B and T cells in the bone marrow is called as hemato. Acquired immunity, it implies two types of cells, B lymphocytes and T lymphocytes. Both these B and T lymphocytes, they need an exposure to antigen. It means they need antigen to trigger them. And both these B and T cells, they are developed from the stem cells present in the bone marrow. And the process of formation of these B and T cells, it is known as hematopoiesis. So we can say that acquired immunity implies two types of cells, B lymphocytes or B cells, T lymphocytes or T cells. So from bone marrow, some immature lymphocytes, that is stem cells, they are destined to form thymocytes and migrate to thymus, which is an endocrine gland, via blood. In thymus, these cells mature as T cells, and the B cells, they remain in the bone marrow and they mature in the bone marrow itself. And what is the destiny of these B and T cells? It means that in the bone marrow, from the stem cells, both B and T cells are produced, but some stem cells from the bone marrow, they migrate to thymus gland, that is an endocrine gland, via blood, and they mature into thymocytes or T cells. And some cells remain in the bone marrow and they get matured in the bone marrow itself, and they are known as the B cells. So it means B cells remain in the bone marrow and they mature there in the bone marrow, but T cells, they become thymocytes, they become mature by migrating to the thymus, which is an endocrine gland, and they migrate via blood. So B lymphocytes, they produce an army of proteins in response to antigen into our blood to fight against them. These proteins are called as the antibodies. And T lymphocytes, they themselves do not produce antibodies but help the B cells to produce them. So basically, which cells produce the antibodies? They are the B lymphocytes. These B lymphocytes are B cells, they produce immunoglobulin in response to any antigen or disease causing organism, and they produce certain proteins which are known as the antibodies, and these antibodies, they fight with the disease causing organisms or the antigens. T lymphocytes, they do not produce antibodies but they help the B lymphocytes to produce the antibodies. They are only helpers, and antibodies are produced in blood. So the immune response is called as humoral immune response. Since lymphocytes themselves attack antigens, the immune response is called cell mediated response or cell mediated immunity. You mean that antibodies, they are produced in blood, and humoral means blood. So we can say that immune response is humoral immune response in case of human being, and these antibodies, they are produced in lymphocytes, and lymphocytes themselves attack antigens, and so the immune response is cell mediated response or cell mediated immunity. So both B cells and T cells, they are responsible for the formation of the antibodies. So how does antibody looks like? And this is the structure of antibody, that each antibody, or we can say immunoglobulin protein, it is made up of 4 polypeptide chains. 2 identical short chains, they are called as the light chains or the L chains, and 2 identical long chains, they are known as the heavy chains or the H chains. So each antibody, it is represented by H2L2. It means that antibody is made up of 4 polypeptide chains. 2 same short chains, they are known as the light chains or the L chains, and 2 same similar long chains, they are known as the heavy chains or the H chains. So we can represent the structure of antibody as H2L2, and each light chain or the L chain, it is bonded to one of the heavy chains, and the 4 chains are held together by disulfide bonds, and so they form a Y-shaped molecule. It means each light chain is connected to the heavy chain, and so the 4 chains together, they are joined together by the help of the disulfide bonds, and they form a Y-shaped molecule. So we can say that the structure of antibody is like a Y-shaped molecule, and the 2 tips of Y-shaped molecule, they are antigen binding sites. They recognize and bind to a specific antigen in the lock and key fashion, forming a antigen antibody complex. Both the arms of Y molecule have the same antigen binding site and so recognize same antigen. It means that the 2 tips of the Y-shaped molecule of the antibody, they have the antigen binding site, and here the antigen comes and it binds to the specific antibody in a lock and key fashion, and so both the arms of Y molecule, they have the same antigen binding site, and so same antigen is get binded with the same antibody. So this is the structure of the antibody. Each of the 4 chains of the antibody, they have a constant region which is known as C region and a variable region which is known as the V region. And due to variable regions, there is a huge variety in the shapes of antigen binding sites, and so different antibodies can react to different antigens. The stem of the antibody is formed by the constant region of the heavy chains. And examples of antibodies are immunoglobulin A, immunoglobulin D, immunoglobulin E, immunoglobulin G, and immunoglobulin M. So all the 4 chains of the antibody molecule, they have a constant region C and a variable region V, and the stem of the antibody which is Y-shaped, it is formed by the constant region of the heavy chain, and the upper portion of the antibody, it has a variable region. So there is a huge variety in the shapes, and so there is a huge variety of the antigen binding site. So different antibodies, they can react to different antigen, and as the acquired immunity, it is specific. So there are thousands and thousands of antibodies, and each antibody is for it was one specific antigen. And the examples of antibodies are IgA, IgD, IgE, IgG, and IgM. So this is the diagram which shows the structure of the antibody. This is a Y-shaped molecule of the antibody. So this is the heavy chain. This long one is the heavy chain, this one, and this is the heavy chain H, 2 heavy chains, and this is the light chain 1, and this is the light chain 2. So there are 2 heavy chains and 2 light chain, and it is represented by H2L2. And these chains, they are attached to each other with the help of the disulfide bonds. Okay, and so this is the base of the antibody molecule. This is constant, their structure is constant, but here the tips, it is variable. So there is a different design for each antibody, and so it binds with different or the specific antigen. So this is the antigen binding site where the antigen comes and it is binded with the antibody in a lock and key fashion. So, and it forms the lock and key antigen antibody complex. So this was the structure of the antibody. And now how antibody functions. The antibody, the function of the antibody is to destroy or neutralize the antigen, and it destroys the antigen by forming antigen antibody complex. And this antigen and antibody complex, it is formed in 3 different ways. Number 1 is agglutination. It refers to the clumping together of the bacteria, viruses, or other foreign cells by antibodies, and it helps to capture the antigens and destroy them by phagocytosis. And the first pattern of destroying or killing the antigen by the antibody, it is known as agglutination. And in this the antibody, it clumps together the bacteria, virus, or any other antigen, and then it helps to capture the antigen, and then it destroys them by phagocytosis, means engulfing. And the second pattern of destroying the antigen is by the process of opsonization. It means coating of the bacteria or viruses to facilitate their phagocytosis by macrophages. In this pattern, the antibody, it makes a coating around the bacteria or the virus or any other antigen, and then phagocytosis is done by the help of the macrophages, and then antigen is removed. And the third pattern is neutralization. In this, the antibodies physically block harmful antigens, making them harmless, and ultimately they are destroyed by phagocytosis. In this pattern, the antibodies, they block the antigen, they hold the antigen, and they make them harmless, and ultimately in this process also the antigens are destroyed by phagocytosis. So it means in all these 3 patterns, the ultimate process of removal of antigen is by phagocytosis. So this is a diagram showing 3 different patterns of working of or mechanism of antigen action. First one is agglutination. In this, this is the Y-shaped antibody, and these are the bacteria, and these antibodies, they clump the antigen and they make them harmless, and then they are removed by phagocytosis. And this is the opsonization. In these Y-shaped antibodies, they form a coating around the antigen. Here it is bacteria, and they form, this is virus, and they form a coating around the antigen, whether it is bacteria or virus, and then they make it harmless, and then it is removed by phagocytosis. And the third one is neutralization. In this, the Y-shaped antibodies, they block it, they hold it, and they make them harmless. This is round figure is antigen, and Y-shaped is antibody, and they neutralize it, they block them, and then they are removed by phagocytosis. All the three processes, they include phagocytosis, and this is the process of phagocytosis. So this is the macrophage, big eater, and here it is the antigen and antibody complex, and it is engulfed and it is removed. So this is the mechanism of antigen antibody action. So now comes the active and passive immunity. Now the acquired immunity can be active or the passive. First of all, there is active immunity. When a host is exposed to antigen, which may be in the form of living or dead microbes or their proteins, antibodies are produced in the host body. It is known as active immunity. When the body is exposed to the antigen for the first time, it contracts the disease. The body not only produces antibodies but also produces a number of memory cells. When the same antigen strikes the second time, memory cells produce rapid immune response, and body does not contract the disease. It may last a lifetime, and active immunity is slow and takes time to give its full effective response. And alternatively, same immunity can be obtained by injecting a vaccine that stimulates the immune system against the specific antigen. So what is active immunity? Actually, when the person is exposed to certain antigen, or you mean to say disease causing organism, and when the antigen enters the body in the form of living or dead microbes, then antibodies are produced in the host body or in the human body. And then when antibodies are produced, it means this is active immunity. And when the body is exposed to certain antigen or pathogen for the first time, it gets the disease. And when the person gets the disease, the body produces antibodies against that antigen. But it side by side, it also produces a large number of memory cells. And when the same antigen, it enters the body second time, then memory cells, they produce a rapid response, heightened response, and the body does not get a disease. So this is the active immunity. But active immunity, it is very slow and it takes time, because it takes time to develop antibodies in the body. And when antibodies are produced, they may last for a lifetime, or they may last for little less time. And so this is a slow process when antibodies are produced and active immunity is got. But this same active immunity, it can be obtained by injecting a vaccine. What is the purpose of giving a vaccine? It means that without getting a disease, without the entry of the pathogen in a host or the human body, the vaccine is given. Vaccine is actually, it is a dead microbe or inactive microbe of a particular disease, and when that microbe enters the body with the help of the vaccine, it stimulates the immune system and antibodies are produced without getting the disease, and we get prevented from that particular disease. Now, passive immunity. In passive immunity, the organism's own body does not produce antibodies. Instead, ready-made antibodies from some other organism are introduced to protect the body against the disease. For protection against diseases, the antigen is introduced into another animal like horse or sheep, and antibodies soon appear in their blood. From there, the antibodies are extracted and injected into human beings to provide passive immunity. Such an immunity is short-lived, but it can avert death. So, what is passive immunity? You see, in case of active immunity, the microbe enters the body and the antibodies are produced. But in case of passive immunity, directly antibodies are produced and injected in the body of the human being. And how it happens? That antigen is introduced in some animal like horse or sheep, and in the body of the animal antibodies are produced, and from their blood, from the blood of the animals, antibodies are extracted and then they are injected into human beings, and then human beings get immediately antibodies, and this is the passive immunity, and this is the short-lived. This immunity is quick, short-lived, but it can protect us from the serious diseases, or it can protect us from death. And the yellowish fluid colostrum secreted by the mother during the initial days of lactation, it has abundant antibodies to protect this infant against many diseases. You must have studied in your first unit of on reproduction that the what is lactation, and when the baby is born, the mother produces yellowish colored colostrum from the mammary glands, and that yellowish colored fluid, which is known as the colostrum, and that in the initial days of lactation, that has abundant antibodies, and they are the immunoglobulins A, and these antibodies, they protect the infant from many diseases. So it is said, but that milk, that initial days of lactation, that is the yellow fluid colostrum, it is very important for the infant because it gives a lifetime immunity for the child to fight against many diseases. And the fetus also receives some antibodies from the mother through the placenta during pregnancy. And you also know that in the uterus, the fetus is attached with the body of the mother by the help of the placenta, and through the placenta during pregnancy, fetus receives some antibodies from the mother, and they are also very important for the life of the baby. So these are the natural antibodies which the infant can get. Otherwise, now you understand that active immunity is that immunity in which the microbe, living or dead, is entered into the body, and then either on its own antibodies are produced, or the antigen is provided in the form of the vaccine, and then antibodies are produced. But in case of passive immunity, directly antibodies are introduced in the body, and these antibodies, they are produced in the body of the animal, and then they are extracted from the body of the animal, and they are given to human beings to provide passive immunity. And this immunity is short-lived, but active immunity is slow and long-lived. So this is about the active immunity and the passive immunity. Now comes the vaccination and the immunization. Now you know that active immunity may develop after a person is infected with a pathogen. However, active immunity can also be induced in a healthy person so that possible future infection does not take place. This process by which it can be achieved is known as vaccination or the immunization. I told you earlier that active immunity can be developed in 2 days. There are 2 ways. First way is that naturally, if a body is infected by some pathogen enters the body, and then immune response is triggered, and then antibodies are produced. This is known as active immunity. And sometimes the active immunity is also given to healthy person to protect him from the infection, and that active immunity is given by injection, and in that injection there is present the weakened microbes or dead microbes, and then human body produces antibodies, and no further infection takes place in the body of the human beings, and that type of induced immunity, it is known as vaccination or the immunization. And the principle of immunization or vaccination is based on the property of the memory of the immune system. Why vaccination is helpful? Because if we give a vaccination or immunization to a healthy person, it memorizes. The immune system has the property of memory, and so when actually infection takes place or some pathogen enters the body, the antibodies are already there in the body of the human being, and then that person does not get the disease. And this vaccination or the immunization was first time developed by Dr. Edward Jenner. He was an 18th century English physician, and he made first vaccine for disease called smallpox in year 1796. So it was Dr. Edward Jenner in 18th century. In 1796, he was an English physician who made the vaccine for the smallpox. So Louis Pasteur, he developed a vaccine against rabies in 1885, and now there are vaccines available for many diseases like diphtheria, tetanus, pertussis and tuberculosis. They are present and they are available, and these different vaccines, they are given to children at a very early stage of life, and they are protected from these diseases throughout the life. And now you know that our world is suffering from a new virus known as the coronavirus, and the scientists all over the world, they are searching for the vaccine, and once the vaccine is available, we will be provided with the vaccine and we will get immunity for that. When we will take vaccine of that coronavirus, then our body will produce antibodies and we will be prevented from the coronavirus. So vaccine is very helpful for providing us immunity. So this is acquired immunity. And vaccine preparations, they contain killed, inactive or live microbe but weakened pathogen. It means that vaccines which are given to the human beings for different diseases, they contain killed, inactivated or weakened pathogen of that particular disease. And now recent efforts are being made to make safer, better and more potent vaccines with the help of the DNA technology. Now with the advancement in technology, scientists are working to make more safer, better and potent vaccines with the help of the DNA technology. And about the DNA technology we will study in detail in our next unit. So immunity by vaccination may last for a few months to a lifetime, and when we are given vaccination, in some cases the immunity is for lifetime and in some cases it is for few months depending upon the potency of the vaccine. And if a person is infected with some deadly microbe to which quick immune response in tetanus, we need to directly inject pre-formed antibodies, and this type of immunization is called as the passive immunization. Suppose if there is certain dangerous disease just like tetanus, then the person needs immediately some antibodies. So in that case the pre-formed antibodies, they are injected into the person, and this type of immunization is known as the passive immunization. So this is all about the vaccination and immunization. So today we have studied about the acquired immunity, and in which we have studied that acquired immunity implies two types of cells, that is B cells and T cells, and these B cells and T cells implies acquired immunity, and B cells and T cells, they are present in the bone marrow, but B cells, they remain there and develop there, and T cells, they form thymocytes and they go to thymus gland and they form the T cells. and so from B cells and T cells they produce antibodies when they are encountered with some antigen. So by the help of the antibody production, acquired immunity is got. And now in this presentation you have also studied about the structure of the antibody, that it has a Y-shaped molecule with 2 heavy chains and 2 light chains, and they are bounded together with the help of the disulfide bonds, and there is a antigen binding site at the variable region, and the base of the Y-shaped molecule that is found by the constant region. Then you studied about the active immunity, passive immunity, and then you studied about the vaccination and passive vaccination. So these were the certain topics which you studied today in this presentation. Now you have to go through whole of this video presentation, and in case you find any difficulty, you can call me or you can WhatsApp me in the WhatsApp group, and I am there to clear your doubts. Thank you.